Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, She Sews Happiness. I'm Mary Ellen, and this is where I share all things sewing related with you. So I am wearing my latest hot off the sewing machine make, which I think incidentally is about all I've got to show for this week. And this is the True Bias Marlo sweater, made up in an alpine fleece from Jenny Stitches Fabrics, and it's been in my stash since just after Christmas. So yeah, it was about time I stitched this up into something, and I'm still very much in that comfort stage, you know, when you just want something to throw on that's really, really easy when you're heading out the door with a baby. So I think it's just got to the point where it's not quite warm enough now for the coats and the cardigans that I've been wearing over the past few months, but it's not quite warm enough just to go out with a cardigan. So I think I've kind of come to a compromise in creating this Marlo cardigan slash sweater, if you're American, out of an alpine fleece. And it is really, really comfortable. Just to give you an idea, it's just that lovely casual drop shoulder, got little cuffs. It should have buttons and buttonholes, but I've decided, since I never actually button my Marlo sweaters anyhow, not to even bother, because it would break up the little hearts and the little print that it's already got. So I haven't bothered putting buttons on there. What I did do, however, was interface the band so that if I do decide later on to add buttons to the cardigan, I can do that. And I'm starting to use cardigan and sweater interchangeably, but for me, really, this is just a cardigan, so I'll probably ditch the sweater references throughout this video. So this is a pattern that I have made twice before. So I've made this now in a few different fabrics, and for reference, this is the pattern, only this is the longer version of the pattern. There are two views, which I'll discuss with you in just a wee moment. But yeah, I've made it now in three very different fabrics. I've made it in a beautiful colourful French terry, which I was wearing during the summer in the evenings when it was a little chillier. I've also made it in a true sweater knit, which has been so comfortable over the winter months. Incidentally, all of these fabrics have been from Jenny Stitches, and now I've made it in this alpine fleece, and I love them all equally, but this just is so cuddly and so comfortable that yeah, it's winning me over at the moment. So yeah, this pattern is not something I would have said is my style at all until I got pregnant. So basically, before I got pregnant, I did make a lot of cardigans because I wear a lot of cardigans. Firstly, I'm a librarian. Of course I wear cardigans. But secondly, I wear a lot, or I did, and I'm starting to get back into the way now, a lot of fit and flare dresses. So when I opted for a cardigan, it was usually a little cropped cardigan, and I preferred them fitted. So the pattern I would have used was the Jennifer Lauren handmade juniper cardigan, and I'll just grab it for you so you can have a look at it. So it took me a minute there just to pull it out of the stack of patterns. This is the juniper cardigan pattern here, and again, like the True Bias Marlo, it comes in two options. You have the cropped version and you have the longer hip length version, but really this is not my look. I am curvy and I am 5 foot, and I don't need anything to make me look too diminutive. So I always opt for something that really flatters me at the waistline and kind of gives me a silhouette. So yeah, this is what I have made so many times in the past. I think I have maybe 8 of these. I'll pop a couple of pictures in if I can find them from my past Instagram posts or something, just for reference so you can see what it looks like. But yeah, that was my go-to. I did also on a couple of occasions make the fuller cardigan by Cashmere, again in the two views, and this is the one I would always have gone for. Just unlike the juniper, which is a v-neck and preferable to me, the Cashmere fuller had a round neck, and I think I had occasion for a round necked cardigan, so that's why I opted for that one at one time. But I also do love this, and you can see that it is a very different style from what I would have gone for before I got pregnant, but nevertheless I really like it. So if you can see here on the back of the sleeve the two options, so you have Few A, which again is just below the waist, and Few B, which kind of hits around the mid thigh. I'm never going to make that one, but it's a shame because I like it. It's got these lovely little patch pockets on there as well, which give it a wee bit more interest. But yeah, absolutely have grown to love that slouchier look in a cardigan. That may not last forever, but for me now it's just a bit of a comfort zone. But yeah, absolutely love this. So as I say, I have now made it 3 times, and that I think is a good enough recommendation for any pattern. Now the pattern itself comes in 2 size options. It comes in a size 0 to 18, which I could have used, but it also comes in sizes 14 to 30, and the reason why I've opted for the sizes 14 to 30 range is that it's actually graded to a D cup rather than a B cup, which the 0 to 18 is graded at. And I figured, I usually make a dressmaking F cup, but I figured because of the amount of room that is in this pattern, there is so much ease that I would get away without doing a full bust adjustment, and I have. I mean, this can pull across me no bother at all, and I've actually sized down from what should in my measurements have been a size 18 to a size 16, and there's still ample room in there for me everywhere, especially at the bust. So yeah, absolutely, if you are bigger busted and you fit within the 14 to 30 range, I would go for this just to give yourself less work to do. I definitely would, I think, have had to have done a full bust adjustment if I'd gone for the B cup range in 0 to 18. So yeah, this worked for me better in my opinion. But yeah, it's, I mean, I know I've used the word slouchy for this, but if you look at it, it's not really slouchy. It's more probably relaxed is a better word for it. And I think what really adds to that look is the drop shoulder. And I quite like it. That's something I like, even in things that aren't just knitwear and whatnot, because it's just easier to fit. And if you're like me and you have weight in your arms and your arms carry a little bit more heaviness, oh, I hate doing full bicep adjustments. They're so laborious. And the drop shoulder just gives you a little bit more comfort in that department as well. But yeah, absolutely love this pattern, and I'm sure it's not the last time I'm going to make it. I think as well, I mean, it's got here a difficulty rating of 2 out of 5, so it's pretty easy. I'm guessing they're not saying it's beginner, they're probably saying it's for adventurous beginners, people who have a couple of garments under their belt, and because it's knit and some people are scared of it, maybe that's why it's got a 2 out of 5 instead of 1. But I actually think this is incredibly easy. After making it the first time, I've sewn it up the last couple of times instinctively without having to use the notes. So yeah, I think it's really simple. The only part that could possibly be a little bit more tricky is sewing in the neckband, but if I can just grab the instructions out of here for you, I will show you. They actually include 2 methods for attaching the neckband. One is for beginners and one is a more intermediate method. So, you know, it's entirely up to you how adventurous you're feeling. And you can choose between the 2 of them which you prefer to do. Now on my last 2, I did use the intermediate just because it is such an easy make. I thought I might as well go for it. It'll give me an extra 20 minutes just in the sewing room. But because my time now is so limited, I just opted for making it with the beginner method. I mean, I don't think it looks any different really in the end. I don't think it does, but yeah, it's entirely up to you which option you choose. Obviously one takes a lot less time than the other, but I mean, this has not taken me long to stitch up at all. It took me longer to cut it because I'm a really slow cutter. I'll cut one piece, then I'll get distracted and I'll come back and cut the next piece out. I'm just not great at, well, I procrastinate a lot at the cutting stage as well as the toiling stage. But my sewing, I mean, sewing is the easiest part of sewing. The actual running things through the machine, I have said time and time again, requires absolutely zero skill. Children can do it. It's all the prep work that you have to put into sewing that actually makes it more challenging if you want it to be. But yeah, absolutely love sewing this up. And as I say, I will stitch this up again. Just because you don't get a brilliant view here, I will stick a couple of pictures in. I've been wearing it out today just as we went for a walk with the dogs and with Henry. So yeah, I'll show you what it looks like on. And I've just worn it today with a jersey dress underneath. Yeah, I've been trying to put the jersey things away, but they're so lovely just for a casual walk with the dogs. So it came back out today to play. So yeah, that's all I've got to share with you in terms of things I've been sewing this week. I did do a little bit of cross stitch and I have been doing some knitting. So you can see here behind me, I do have some knitting on the go, and obviously it's tiny knitting because, you know, there's no part of me that's going to fit into this. So I'm currently just making a little sweater for Henry, and I'm making it purposefully a size for the future because I know summer is coming in. But I just fancied knitting. I went to my friend's knitting group for the first time on Wednesday evening, which kind of inspired me to head into the little wool shop and pick up a few supplies. So the little pattern that I'm making, I think, is a Stylecraft pattern. Didn't pay that much attention to it. It is just a wee Stylecraft pattern. This is the little sweater that I'm making. I'm making this view here. I'll probably make this one as well because I actually purchased some more wool in a darker, like charcoaly color. But this is the wee sweater here, and I think it'll be lovely for the autumn and winter months. And yeah, we'll see how we go. I've got some nice new fabrics as well. So again, one of them is for Henry. So this is just a little craft cotton that I picked up to make a little button-up shirt for him to wear on May the 4th, because that's just the kind of mom I am. So that's there for that. And I've been looking at button-up shirt patterns for little boys and haven't decided on one yet. There's a few different options. So if you have any recommendations, please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll just probably have to go for one and try it out and see how we go. But I have bought a couple of fabrics for myself as well. So one of the first fabrics that I have bought, if I can just pull it out of here without making a total mess of everything that I've neatly stacked in front of me, is this tencel from Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn. They have called this Powerful Awakening, and when you see the print on this fabric, you will understand why. Now this is not a color scheme that I would usually go for. It's much too light, and I am prone to spill coffee on this just by wearing it because it's a lighter color. But I thought this was absolutely stunning. I love that kind of orangey marigold color, the sunflowers on there. Just look at the figures. I thought it was really stunning. I can't wait to make something up in that. Tencel, again, one of my favorite kind of fabrics to sew with. It's got a beautiful handle. It floats perfectly when I want to use gathers in my skirts. So I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet. Maybe a wrap dress with a gathered skirt, something like that, like the by Hanlon and Hannah, which I've been meaning to revisit because I haven't made it since way on in the first like 3-4 months of my sewing, and I would like to revisit it and master the fit on that. So maybe that's what I'll use that for. And then the other fabric I have here is a beautiful viscose crepe, which they've called Cubit, but you'll see there's all kinds of celestial beings on this. And again, pink is not a color I go for too often, but sometimes I just can't resist. I absolutely fell in love with that print. And again, I love viscose crepe, which I've talked about in a previous post. Now the one thing about it is this fabric's a little bit sheer. So I've ordered some cotton foil, again from So Me Sunshine, and it is on the way, and I will use that as a lining fabric for this. It's just going to be a classic fit and flare dress of some kind, and again it'll probably have either a circle skirt or a gathered skirt. Something dressier that I can put on with a nice pair of heels when I'm going out. So that's what I've been purchasing in the fabric department, and I need to stop soon because I'm not sewing at the rate I used to sew, and the fabrics are just starting to take over. So I really need to focus on sewing what I've got, because I'm being a bit wasteful at this point just by gathering them up in piles. It's hard when you see a really pretty fabric to not just go, I need that, and buy it. But at the same time, if it's just going to lie there, by the time I get around to sewing it, I may not even love it anymore. So I need to rein myself in. I have a couple of projects apart from my Dorothy jacket, which the less I say about the better, because every time I say I'm going to start it, I don't. So I'll say nothing about that right now. I have a couple of projects that I do have planned for the next week or two. And the first one, because Easter is just around the corner, is to make this little bunny just to put in Henry's little Easter crate. Which hopefully I'll be able just to put his name on and mark that it is for his first Easter, just as a little keepsake, something I'll probably want to keep more than he will. Nevertheless, I'm going to make it, and I think it'll be really cute. So all the wee fabrics and supplies I need are sitting here ready to go, and I just need to get around to starting that and cutting out the pieces. I have also got a few simple Easter polycottons here, which I'm going to be making some little Easter projects with, so I'll share those with you once I make them. I mean, I'm hoping to make them. Again, it's time, maybe next year, maybe before I actually get around to it. But they're there because that's my intention. And then just to show you something else that has arrived this week, it's one of the Make Box kits. So this is the King and Queen mouse to commemorate the coronation of King Charles. And while I'm not a monarchist by any stretch of the imagination, this was too cute to resist. So we have our little King mouse and our little Queen mouse. And we've all the supplies that are needed, if I just bring that in there for you, to stitch those up. And I did make the bunny that Make Box had released, the bunny kit for the Jubilee. I'll just grab it and show you. Yeah, so the bunny lives with me here in the sewing room, and this is the bunny, and I thought it was absolutely adorable. Just to give you a little view of it, it has its little pantaloons, it's got its little blouse, its little bow, it's even got this adorable little button as a finishing, and of course the little crown. So it sits just above me up there, watching over what I get up to here in my sewing space. Had I had a little girl, I'm sure this would have moved into the nursery, but it's staying with me, obviously. And then, yeah, you can see here, if I just hold this up, the fabrics all kind of coordinate. So you can see those stripes have been worked in there. You've got the pink, the blue, the gold crowns, so they'll sit really happily together on a little shelf somewhere. And I don't know when I'll get around to making those, but it's there when I do have the opportunity to do so. So that's where I am. Hopefully, yeah. It's a short video, hopefully. I'm not sure how long I've been chattering away. I did think I'd be on for about 5 minutes, and I'm sure it's much longer than that. But there we are. Hopefully all is well where you are. Please do let me know if you know of any great children's patterns for little button-up shirts. And yeah, that will help me on my next sewing projects. But yes, hopefully you're all well. Thank you again for stopping by the channel. If you're new and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's really nice to have you here. And I'll be back soon with another update of what I've been up to. So take care. Thanks again for watching the video, and yeah, chat to you soon. Bye.